You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions, they blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen, that shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're driven. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you could fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Are you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Are you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back. Yeah. You ain't gonna make it, you ain't never ever gonna break it. You can never beat them and they're better than you face it. Thinking that they give a damn, you're not, think a stray kid. No, they don't give a damn, you got what I'm saying? I'm not fucking playing, I'll give it to you straight, man. There's too many others and you're not that great, man. Stop what you're saying, stop what you're making. Everybody here knows that you just faking. Nah, I don't wanna hear it anymore, I don't wanna hear it anymore. All these fucking thoughts, they are not what I need anymore. I'm about to shut the motherfucking door on all you poor ass haters with your heads in the clouds, talking out loud so proud. You better shut your goddamn mouth before I do more speak out. It's about to head south. You're never gonna make it. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you could fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Are you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Are you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back.
Okay, I am here. Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 boo. Okay, that was my dance. This was what just played. Just copyright free because he's awesome. Anyway. I have a bunch of stuff I thought I'd share. More tabs, more tabs. I found a new Shaligram video source. So I'm going to go through those. I haven't really looked except for a little bit. I think these are things that don't matter. Okay. Some of these I rewatched last night's episode, which I haven't done in a while. Like, I actually watched it. And I was like, oh man, I missed that. It's worth noting that when I go through these, I miss things, like in terms of additional relationships. Like, there's definitely more going on than I notice. Okay, I gotta turn that off, huh? That light needs to charge. I didn't have it charging. Okay, so I could probably close that one. This one, for instance, I thought was really interesting. In a way that I hadn't thought about before. It made me think of. It's not really visible yet, so we can kind of. There we go. There it is. There. Just the shape of it. It's kind of like a bullet, but like with a missing piece here. But like over here, it looks kind of like a Shiva-ling maybe, where it's got the like a tube. Like, what did I call this? Stacked? Like this thing, but like many and narrowing, but having a generally rounded shape to it on one end. That tends to happen where the other end is perhaps like an inlet area for current flows that in this instance flows through a channel that's generally the volume of the structure, doing so in an eddy, swirling upward slowly and creating the structure, and having like boundaries between segments that lead to harder like boundaries rather than like small eddies. There's then larger boundaries that occur too that then separate those into little blocks that then at times can like be just hidden in the matrix, like kind of like a mass visible. I'm trying to find an example of just something where it's clear something is like in it, in the matrix, but it's not like this. This looks like there's nothing in the matrix. There's just like a mound there on the side of the ammonite, which happens a lot. But sometimes it actually looks like something is within the thing. I don't know about those ones. Point is, this one kind of looks like it by this boundary here. Right there. It's kind of got like an internal thing also, maybe. So my thought is, it initially was doing a Shiva-ling conduit linear type thing, and it then eddied in the end here to create an ammonite, but retaining this like elongated stone structure. And there's a example. Let's see if I can find it. It would be in my disprove science folder for sure. There's an example of one that actually has an ammonite in the end. Here it is, 649. I can just open this one. This is good enough. Where it has the tube, which notably has two tubes because it narrows. But then there's a wider tube that we can see has the same like divides, just subtler. And then in one end of the tube though, kind of like if this were to be the Shaligram, like just a segment, then it would be much more of this nature if it was like heavily more defined, I guess. So that one I thought was of interest for that reason. This one has two chakras. It's incredible. Like competing chakra boundaries. The one chakra, which goes up here, goes up there. Get this thing so I can actually draw. Goes up that way, that way, that way. But then there's another chakra that's like a little more apparent than I would have expected by just like this here, just like that. And then there's another like weird divide there that seems, and here as well, but like this area is eroded in a way that's almost like it was making it be a chakra from here and just like could have removed this portion of the chakra and just made the chakra be there. Is essentially what the like vibes I was getting from that like feature on that portion of the stone there. It's just a little nook, a little like chip in the stone maybe in how it may be interpreted, but this one I was just looking at again because it's incredible. This thing, one of these, like it's got one of these in the stone, and that other one here is very subtle. We couldn't even tell it was there till it's turned around, and then it's clear. This is so incredible. And then here, it's totally invisible. Just matrix. Like we just see a lump. And a lump that's not really as pronounced as they can be. I feel a little low. Like maybe that would be better. There we go. Like I was way too low. I was like down here. Okay. This one's incredible. This one's very, very reminiscent of what I was talking about yesterday. The previous episode, where there's a like general divide where there's one side that has a current flow that wraps down to that divide, and another side that has a current flow going up to that. Like that thing I was talking about, where then at some point, it's because there are pressures around it, the current can be brought back into like near the far end of the stone on both sides. So we saw yesterday both sides having a ammonite in another instance. I was like, I put it right there, but it rotated to the other side, man. it was on the other side where he paused it. This one that we looked at 4 episodes in a row actually is quite similar because it has oops, this one. So it's got on one end, on one pole of the long axis, the pole here. In this instance, I'm interpreting it. It's interpreted to be like a pole, like North Pole, South Pole. Not always in the long axis, but in this instance, the long axis, North Pole, South Pole kind of thing, with an equatorial region across like the width where it's widest generally has like a balance point between these two sides, where one side has a high point here that just next to the high point is this ammonite. And if we look at this, let me turn some music on, I guess, like this one. It's really whatever. But if we watch this one, there's that ammonite on this end. Ammonite, the chakra, like essentially the high point, the pole is around the chakra lobe area. It's looking like it's around here. And it's forming an ammonite. It's angled. So it's similar. Notice it's angled from right there. It's like diagonally across. Diagonally across. So there's parallels. And then on this side is where this weird like circular thing is, but it has several like potential eddy centers that we talked about. Let me see if I can, like, just thinking how to actually show it right now. I can pull up the picture, I guess. Let's just do that. Pull up some pictures. Which means we can go here, go here. Pimpin' ain't easy, bro. Pimpin' ain't easy. Right here, like around here is the pole. Around this thing, which we see here, like in this area, like it's generally around the center of this, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, generally around like that point is one of the poles that seems to have a general eddy center around it, but also, so like something's going on there related to that pole that actually curiously seems somewhat to have relationships to here. It's not so one ammonite on this side perfectly forming thing going on. There's a lot more going on than that on this Shaligram, but the similarities are present, and I just kind of thought I would note it, I guess. Okay. There's another one that's kind of got some indent where maybe current was flowing back into from out of here and back into over there. Okay, let's keep going though. That just based on yesterday's episode. This one's cool. It's got like a, oh yeah, there. caused it perfectly. Ammonite center, chakras over there, and then clearly the structure of the ammonite is down here and up here. And then this region is matrix that overlays it. So as we come down here, the matrix that overlays it like goes to the side here a little, like goes down, over, down, over, down, over, and goes like that way with some kind of smearing, like connecting it, almost like it's not cut like here. And then that, all of this is similar in like the surface roughness and to this area, suggesting that there's some relationship between the two, and this area has these other rib things just kind of imprinted in it, which are clearly not that ammonite, but are like weirdly associated with it and on the side of this shaligram. And then here we see like the ribs literally stops. It runs into resistance and there's just this wall. Which doesn't make sense if it's an actual fossil. But if it's in a current flow, it can do that. Hard boundary for no reason. But like perfect hard boundary. It's not like it's doesn't flow with the stone. Like everything about it is evidence that there is erosion shaping those features. Like the actual layer is one across it. It's doing it again here. Probably going under somewhat, so that maybe there is like a boundary of an ammonite there. It's just running into resistance still, so that this material has been shaped and just not eroded for whatever reason. The pressures from the other side with that other system going on over here interacting with this led to some anomalies in that region. Okay, that's right. This music is just the same thing over and over. I just was, my dad was coughing, so I thought I'd not capture it in high def, if you will. That's right, this one's incredible, where the water pellets the water on the surface seem to adhere in a curious way, non-randomly. Like half too. Like not over here, there's really not much there, but then where they are spaced and almost look like they're meant to be there, like there is some energy there that the water just preferentially kind of moves into that and forms little droplets. But like that's my interpretation of what's going on there. It's hard to say exactly if that's even water. It is wet. They do seem to wet their shaligrams regularly in these, like their hands are wet. This one's incredible. I was thinking about being like, hey, you still got this shaligram? Still got this shaligram right here? Shoot, I'd be curious. What we talking about? Yeah, anyway. Oh my god. Freaking addict. Oh, it's 11 something like that. I was like, maybe someone messaged me now. course not. Maybe someone said, I really enjoyed your Shaligram. Where can we wanted to hire you to continue doing what you're doing at a pay rate of trillions of dollars? It was not a text message. There was no text message. Okay, that one. This one's crazy. Some other things I was noticing in this one that I noticed I didn't notice, if you will. I can't even remember though. I think it was mainly how this boundary right to that point is really, like, I would say it's almost one with the rest of the structure. Although, curiously, I didn't notice this. It's not. It's actually, like, there's not a complete connection. This is all one up to there. So maybe, like, this has a smaller lobe that's more like there. That would be, like, actually appropriate. But then as it goes over here, like, it looks generally right. Like it would go back and would be in line, but then as we go over here, it really starts to angle off to the side and not be in the same direction. And there's even, like, paths across there that are kind of visible. There's probably relationships through that. I know I'm talking about shaligrams all the time. I was thinking about earlier, what the hell am I going to do? Like that. I don't know. This one, I really didn't consider how this ammonite relates to the other ammonite on the other side that it threads to. Like, there's a threading. Also, around this, we see a boundary that goes like here, around. Like, that doesn't make sense if it's, like, which is it? It's got an aura, like a fossil aura. Fine, I guess that's more, like, theoretically possible. But then this ammonite, like, threads through a structure to that other ammonite. Ooh, actually, this bounces off and goes that way. So maybe it's not quite this ammonite that's over there, but, like, actually this ammonite that's, like, bouncing off of it when it's cutting in here. It's extending outward to another lobe over here, removing this material, but usually it shapes it into an ammonite. But maybe because it was so thin and other eddies were occurring, it was not able to do it more normally, so it did it in an anomalous way that has all sorts of curious details, but threads through it over there. Really, we can really see that boundary around it. It's incredible. Wow. Okay, that one we definitely... I should save that one's pictures. Crap. A lot of these I would like to save the pictures of. I'm just not. That's why kind of partly why I'm doing this. To at least document them. In my interpretations that I see anything of interest. This one, like the concept that there's poles in these shaligrams and there's equatorial currents and maybe more like Tropic of Cancer current and Capricorn or whatever. I don't even remember what they're called. Those boundaries that are not the equator, but some other boundaries that are like essentially equatorial, like the width of the equator in a sense. And then it also has a polar current here, like going pole to pole, wrapping around it that way. It's really not much going on other than that. It's just that kind of details, though. Like, that's kind of incredible. It's just generically imprinted in a very basic way. Okay, this was something. Let's just find it real quick. Here it is. Shaligram. I thought this was of interest. It's a huge single ammonite, it seems, generally around the boundary, so it must have had an ammonite structure. It's definitely a shaligram. And there's really not many good pictures of it. Like, they're good pictures, but they're not all the way around, and it's very generally simple. So we're pretty much saying it. So let's go past that. I wanted to play this because he talks about shaligrams. Oh no, it's in frickin' this language. It's over here somewhere. I have it. Maybe this one? No. This one is also incredible. Just hit that real quick, I guess. Two ammonites kind of interacting. Two eddies interacting. So this area looks odd. I don't know what to make of it. It looks like it's uplifted and it's still got ribs. The ribs are there, even though it's lower. Like the actual structure, where the rib should be, is not there. It's some kind of like mound of material like this that has ribs on it now. That's just smaller, but still. Doesn't actually make sense, but relates to the presence of this, maybe just holding that material there so it couldn't be as easily stripped away. But these currents still float away from the center because there's an eddy in there that's generally got currents flowing inward to the center, and then in order to exhaust, they flow around the eddy itself along its margin and flow in these channels away from the center, underneath and around the eddy, which then etches into the stone, creating these paths which take the shape of the ammonite, because which take the shapes of ammonites because of the pressures that they're flowing in and form ammonites and cut the stones in these cases. And in here, though, another eddy was just very proximal and must have anomalously influenced it. Like, we even see this goes down and back like a smaller ammonite, literally. It's very odd over there. Wow, this even slopes sideways abruptly at the chakra. Like, it's this way. and then slopes in. I don't know if it's abruptly, but it looks kind of like it could be. Based on the rest of it, it is kind of... Okay, where is this thing? Oh, here it is. What is Shaligram? There's a river inside Nepal. We call it Gandaki River. These stones come out from it. The thing is about Kamal or Shaligram is that when that river came to India, then these people go from there. Kamal, he's probably talking about a place in that area. They only... It is not found from within Nepal till... Nepal. This is Lord Vishnu himself who comes here. As you will see in our homes, you find Ladu Gopal in every home, which I believe is just a shaligram that is a round and smooth ball, essentially. It doesn't have features particularly, it's just a... But it is a shaligram. I believe that is what Ladu Gopal might be referencing. Maybe not. Oh. Nope, not at all. I know nothing. Yeah. Totally not what I was thinking of. Gopal. I feel... Shaligram. Oh. It's a form of shaligram. Yeah, this one. This is what I was thinking of. So I'm not completely crazy to have thought of that. Maybe he was referencing that. I don't know. When you go to the south, you will find shaligram in every house. Shaligram, in a way, is Lord Vishnu himself. Lord Vishnu had received a curse that worms will grow in him. I assume him. Yes, sir. This is Lord Vishnu himself. And what is the matter in this? That chakras that you are seeing, we call it Lakshmi Narayan chakra, which is like the feminine and masculine halves or something. I was reading something about that earlier. Lakshmi, this thing. The union of Lord Vishnu with goddess Lakshmi. And it's like the standard single ammonite, essentially, of a shaligram. And these worms form... Not recreated. It is the worm which creates it itself. What is shaligram, sir? So it starts over. It is the worm that creates it itself. He's not saying this is a fossil. They knew and still know. It's just denied by modern science's arrogance. Not everyone knows. If we look in the comments, I literally was kind of doing like this. And notice fossil. I don't know what this guy was talking about. I don't know if that is what he was saying. But somewhere in here, that's a good point. Here we go. No offense to any religion. I'm a Hindu and religious belief, but it's a fossil. Please Google what are fossils. And then someone agrees and generally just says, but it's called Shaligram. So there's an acceptance in Hindu belief of this overwhelming imposition of the false doctrine that these are fossils. It has been accepted. This ammonite fossil is bolted. Whatever. Nautilus is a fossil of a creature. It is found in Nepal because the Tethys Sea located here was between Nepal and India. People here, notice here. So he's like in the region. People have accepted this false doctrine that some basically white man from England brought to the land. False doctrine brought to the land. These are fossils. Yes, fossils. Oh yeah, and with this like confidence that is just hard to debate without actually knowing they're not fossils. And this like, we'll say, plethora of pseudo evidence to assure that they overwhelm anyone who does not actually know that they're not fossils. So if people just don't know, they're just going to accept that they're fossils. But he knows. There are people who know. This ain't no fossil. This ain't no fossil. Maybe he doesn't know exactly what's going on. But the Vajrakita river worm is so much closer to reality than fossils. Although the Lord Vishnu thing, definitely I don't understand. What exactly is going on, I don't know. Probably something very interesting in that regard. That maybe I should appreciate. Okay, whatever. Let's keep going. I like this guy. He's got a shop. Got some shaligrams. Gopal. Very smooth like that. It's actually where I got the names from. Okay. Let's see. I'm probably just closing this, but I was down there was like a polar position, maybe. I was whatever. Okay, another one. Another more story one that I thought was worth bringing into this episode. So that one was Vajrakita, the river worm.
Told you that Vishnu Ji was cursed to become a Shaligram stone. The story begins with an asura named Jalandhar, whose wife, Vrinda, was a devoted and virtuous follower of Lord Vishnu. Despite Jalandhar's ruthless actions against the gods, Vrinda's unwavering prayers and devotion created a shield of invulnerability around him. This made Jalandhar unstoppable in battle, much to the despair of the gods. In their desperation, the gods turned to Shiva for help, Together with Vishnu Ji, they devised a plan to break Jalandhar's protection. Vishnu, taking the form of Jalandhar, approached Vrinda and allowed her to touch his feet. This act shattered her virtue, making Jalandhar vulnerable. With the protective power gone, Shiva easily defeated Jalandhar in a fierce battle. When Vrinda realized she had been tricked, she was devastated and cursed Vishnu Ji to turn into a Shaligram Stone. Vrinda was reborn as Tulsi Plant. She refused to allow Shiva to be worshipped with anything related to her, explaining why Tulsi leaves are offered to Vishnu, but not to Shiva during puja. What if I told
I was muted, so I said I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a short break, so good thing I realized I was muted. Okay, I'll be back. Okay. Back. Huh. It's cold out. I brought my Tulsi plant inside after seeing that video. It's like, oh yeah, so that's what that is. This video here.
Told you that Vishnu Ji was cursed to become a Shaligram stone. The story begins with an asura named Jalandhar, whose wife Vrinda was a devoted and virtuous follower of Lord Vishnu. Despite Jalandhar's ruthless actions against the gods, Vrinda's unwavering prayers and devotion created a shield of invulnerability around him. This made Jalandhar unstoppable in battle, much to the despair of the gods. In their desperation, the gods turned to Shiva for help. Together with Vishnu Ji, they devised a plan to break Jalandhar's protection. Vishnu, taking the form of Jalandhar, approached Vrinda and allowed her to touch his feet. This act shattered her virtue, making Jalandhar vulnerable. With the protective power gone, Shiva easily defeated Jalandhar in a fierce battle. When Vrinda realized she had been tricked, she was devastated and cursed Vishnu Ji to turn into a Shaligram stone. Vrinda was reborn as Tulsi plant. She refused to allow Shiva to be worshipped with anything related to her, explaining why Tulsi leaves are offered to Vishnu, but not to Shiva during puja. What if I told you that Vishnu Ji
Fuck, I'm muted. Damn it. Pardon me. And pardon me for saying damn it. It's cool. Pardon me. Pardon. Por favor. Wait. I forget. What is... I guess it's pardon. Pardon in Spanish. And French is pardon. Pardon. I can't do it. Did I open that? Just in case I didn't. Sure. Sure. Yeah, we slinging it. Oh, a Tulsi leaf. We can recognize this because we just saw some. That might be the same exact variety. I have 3 varieties. This one grew by far the best. That's an amazing Shaligram right there. Okay. That one's promising. That one's promising. Very cool. That's very strange. Almost looks fake, but like nothing else does, so I really am curious to see it. I don't believe it's fake, although maybe it's shaped. Like, it could be shaped. It's really unlikely, though. It's probably actually was like that, incredibly. Like, it's just like a cap on top of an ammonite that eroded around to the point where that's all that was left. And then that was eroded free from it. 13 chakra. I'm down. This looks pretty cool. There's some incredible ones in here for sure. There's some Dwarka Sheilas. Sorry I friggin' talk so low and I'm hard to hear, I know. It's probably because I'm leaning into the microphone and trying to not, like, overburden the gain to go into the red zone on the gain. Wow, these Shaligrams. And have, like, trained myself to talk low, and I talk low. It's silly. I need to figure out how, like, maybe boost the gain and talk and just move it away. It's certainly not good to move. It's very far. Wow, these Shaligrams. Oh my god. Wow. It's a freaking soundboard of me responding to Shaligrams. Wow. Oh my god. Dang. Dude. But seriously though. Oh my god. That's probably shaped, like, that's shaped. I don't know what it says carving, so almost certainly it's carved. But still, what? Did I open that? I don't know. Holy crap. Wow. I'm like skipping ones that I would have opened for sure. Because there's so many good ones. Wow. Oh my god. For sure that one. This one's got an up thing. That one looks huge. This one looks worth looking at. This one, I don't know what that is. I wonder if that's like something I saw from Mangalam Jewelry once. Incredible, 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 incredible. Oh my god. Wow. Wow. Just the way it like avoids maybe some kind of point, like energetic point in the stone, like a North Pole. Although I would suggest it's more like an East Pole in a strange way, where this is like north-south, and the eddy is generally between it, as it tends to be. Oh my god. Here's the one that alerted me to this channel. Oh, wow. This one, like, how mathematical. Yeah, they're fossils. Oh my. Wow. The chakras eroding along the top is very blurry. But there's a little path along the top. Like this one. Where the chakra is actually eroded free in this case. It's got that kind of thing going on. Subtly. Not here, though. This is clearly not happening there, but it's subtly there, although it might just be eroding, like, the next tier across, like, in a bit and cutting into the stone. Although it really would be further out, so it seems more like the first thing where it's just cutting the chakra loose for some strange reason, maybe relating to that one shaligram we saw. Actually, it's gone, where the chakra was one place, but then it had this like imprint that looked like it could have been another like lower tier chakra, that it could erode the first chakra away and like essentially form a chakra off of the second one at a lower energy, maybe a wider eddy that occupied more space, and so higher energy really, but a lower energy from the center point, in a sense, where it could reach to the center, but it would have removed that height. Just swirling in there. Possibly like a polar thing going on there too. Oh wow. That is looking like it was trying to go back in and be part of this ammonite, and instead it just went off to the side and swirled there. Okay, that's something of interest. There's so many of these. Wow, these are tiny. Whoa. That other side looks strange. Turn it. Turn it. Oh, shit. It was so quick. It's alright. Pretty standard. Okay, pretty standard. Let's go. Yesterday's video was blocked in Russia for 10 seconds, and I had an option to remove the 10 seconds, and I was gonna do it. Like, I looked at the 10 seconds, I was like, ah, whatever. And I wasn't, because of one of these videos, not this, like, one of short like this that I hit play, and then the music played for like 10 seconds, and I was trying to mute it, but I didn't get that one. And I had an option to just trim it, as I have done before. But then this time I had an option. I guess I should talk to the camera. Like talking to the chat, no one's even there. Fuck. I'm crazy, man. I had an option to scrub the music. It's like, let me just see what happens. And it removed the music. It's like it never was. It was just a little faint, like, musical sound going on, but there wasn't, like, it was gone. I was like, wow. Darn, that's crazy. Good to know, though. It had to, like, render the video or whatever. Basically, video edit. But it must do something to, like, focus some portion of the video so it doesn't have to redo the entire video. This has, like, interesting up and down stuff going on, but I'm just keep going. Another one that's kind of like got a square, elongated shape type thing, like that one we saw earlier in that plane, I guess. Like elongated that way, kind of rounded. And then having an opening like at a sloped angle from the elongation. Slope. Wow. Actually, I guess the ammonite itself is sloped. It's kind of doing that thing where the Z cross, cross, cross of like an energy flow in layers that has like one layer and another layer and then a transitional like between the layers to go from one to the other. It does it in like a sloped stairway kind of thing that is highly susceptible to forming eddies in that location, it seems. Just thinking like from a cosmic / atomic sense what that might reveal. Whoa. Looked almost like another chakra back there. right there. Like it's part of the ammonite, but it looked like it got shaped a little more. And more chakra-like. Okay, we got so many tabs I just opened. Just irregular patterns of erosion that don't really make sense.
What's that, Ras?
It's kind of like what we see on this one again. In that one region we looked at, I might still have it open. Is it open on here? This one. Kind of like that. Like it's divided. It's very much like some position where it's not happening, and then it's generally arced. Whoa. Makes perfect sense. What do you mean they're not fossils? Don't be ridiculous. He's still being ridiculous. Oh, I need some freaking music. Let's find some music, man. Let's find some freaking music, man. Maybe some Marvel Rivals music. No copyright music. Awesome. I never tried that one. Okay. Over 20 minutes. Let's see what comes up when we search for awesome music. Pop music. Background music for gaming. And FX, because it's always good. And no copyright safely. Wonder how they're doing from that method. They're probably the most successful that I know of that do that. But I don't know how successful that is because they're no copyright in terms of like paying the bills. It's fucking hard to do the right thing. Like fucking this whole thing's backwards. What are we doing? What are we doing? Best of all time, no copyright sounds. I mean, sold. Fucking copyright strike.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left.
I just realized this speaker volume was way up. Hopefully that wasn't too irritating. That's fine, whatever. As long as it's low. I think it's low. It looks like it might be a little high. That's probably better. It's probably just... No. It just looks a little high. Okay, whatever. It's probably low enough. Oh. Okay. I think we saw that one. energy there. Oh my god. But then on the inside, on this side, very cool. Wow. Interesting. Clearly, it was eroding higher. It almost makes me wonder if this could have shifted so that like a lobe was this way, like an entire lobe over here. Something over here, this way. Cut out the chakra and created a new chakra over here based on how just defined the boundaries of this and how lobe-like its general shape is of what we can see of it. And what we can't see is really a void that generally is lobe-shaped in combination with the lobe-shaped thing, so it's kind of lobe-shaped. I don't know, but maybe. This one looks cool. Got some, oops. Whoa. What was that? Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh. There's like little subtle like rib paths or on the edges and things here, but it looks relatively smooth. Okay, there we go. We can see it a bit more there. Okay, so this is pretty defined. I guess that's like a chunk of ammonite type of piece there. Yeah, maybe even like wrapping around. Okay. Some curious cuts around it. That doesn't quite make sense. It looks like it might actually slope a little bit more there. I don't know. Current just kind of drilling into the stone. Maybe drilling in like here, and then here. And then here, at which point it really started to eddy at what would create the chakras. there's like a tiny little, like right there, that it just looks like a place current kind of drilled in, like one of those holes we come across occasionally that are just a hole. But in this case, it drilled in and came back out under the circumstances of the pressures, and flowed back out into pressure, where it then went back in and eddied and formed an ammonite as a result, but where the ammonite retains that inlet flow path there visibly in its structure of what's eroded and what's not, which usually, if visible, is much larger. In this case, it's a tiny little puncture hole. It's just centered well, where the previous one we saw ones that were not centered well. So they were like deflecting off the edge until one of them was centered well enough that it actually caught into the stone. But in this case, it was just centered well. Maybe there were some other points where it wasn't so centered. I'm just realizing that's still on. Okay. Kinda can see that Z-type shape from from the other sides. Chakras there, some kind of fracture erosional path that also takes a lobe over there. Crazy, we see really defined chakra right there. Right there, it's got a tier, a point, first tier above it, next tier. It really has the same shape, it's just at the boundary. But it's where these chakras are in one lobe, where the other lobe is being eroded, so we see the boundary. Incredible. Unbelievable. But then it like slopes off, like it slides off. Like the surface, for some reason, I don't know why, it looks like it had enough surface, although it's kind of angled weird. Something about it, it went around the side there and didn't quite form a lobe, so I guess it dominantly remained with the chakras interiorly, but like this left side really was under the interpretation it was forming a larger ammonite. With this side. Wow, we can see ribs like going up the chakra to this region of the stone when the chakra's back there. Like we see literally like a chakra-esque thing. Oh my fucking god. And then again, the long axis with like a pointy region where on one side is this opening. standard crazy. Now that I see it all the time. Right there. Long, and essentially where a current is flowing around the stone in both directions, like a planet. And the one on one end, basically it's looping around the pole and it cuts in before the pole. So if it's going around the pole, it's fine, but if it cuts in before the pole, then it runs into itself, basically. But it's cutting in before the pole, so it's like held by the pole. It can't like go through the pole because there's a lot of pressure at that region that it just won't like move very easily. It's the pole structurally. So instead it just swirls in that location downward because it can't go up at all. It's running into itself, so it basically pushes itself down into the rock where it swirls and goes into the stone. And it could have created like a Shiva Lingam, one of those long phallic things, but instead it created chakras this way, where it eddies inward. This angle like this would have created the Shiva Ling, but instead it creates chakras this way because it eddied like this until it got in far enough, and then it eddied around the chakras in this plane. And then it tried to adjust so that it eddied around the chakras in this plane, like basically still the same plane, but new chakras that are more centered with one side of the eddy on this side of the pole and the other side of the eddy on this side of the pole. So it tried to shift it like that, but for some reason it failed to make this lobe. And so it failed to make the full-blown ammonite, but it clearly created a lot of its features without removing the pre-existing chakras that demonstrate these are not fossils. Not fossils. Did someone say it? Did someone say those were fossils? Guys, they're not fossils. Oh my god, how incredible. Wow. And it's in that Z, where I guess, let's see. So we've got the pole around there, opposing pole around there. But then if we look at it from this side, the top is generally like that. The ammonite generally slopes back and has a region of ammonite. And then like the rest of the rock, and then it goes down that way. So it's essentially doing that Z type thing. It goes, has a layer and then a transitional region, and then the base is a layer. Lots going on. Lots going on with this Shaligram. You can see the slope there. I would love to see that more. Oh, you still got this. Shit. want them all, man. I want them all. I mean, if someone else is documenting this stuff. Am I not? I don't know what to make of that. What's going on here? I guess it's a chunk of ammonite eroded. Could see ribs, but it looks like it might be eroded into. What? No way. Oh my god. Not fossils, dudes. Oh my. Wow. It's not like this here is really, it's not going towards the chakra, so it's not like it's related to this ammonite in there. Like something, there's actually a chakra forming on the top there. Now look, like right there, little ribs away, and then a tier boundary around there, and then ribs down. But in this area, I guess it goes underneath it, and there's just like a little bit of the ammonite mass remaining. After it eroded around it and shaped it and did all those things, it's still eroded. And then there's over here, which seems to be like the next tier out, but actually the mass, where this was just like a barely, and then on top of it, this looks more like a actual mass that then has chambers that we can see like boundaries of, maybe there, maybe generally around there and there, that point back over to there, to the chakra. And then this structure though, the chambers, we see that ammonite in there. 1 second, we'll freaking look at that a little closer. But then we see these chamber features, really they keep going down here, keep going, they go all the way over here, and then they basically encompass this ammonite. I'll take things that can't happen for 100 because it fucking obviously can't be. Yeah. What is this stone? Oh, thanks. I did it. I did it. Oh my god, what is happening? It's crazy. All sorts of interactions. More going on than what I just described, but it's still like clearly anomalous as fuck. Okay. Let's go. This one. Sudarshan chakra. Just straight up Sudarshan chakra. That could be, I don't know. Moving on from that one. It's pretty standard if it's real, and hard to tell if they're real sometimes. Especially blurry. Definitely a relationship. Like, wow, there's even little like ribs like these that extend up here. You can literally just draw the line up. And even in the stone itself, there's like a slope, literally like a freaking ramp. Like there was a current flow that was passing through the stone, maybe. But generally ramped, like seemingly through there, maybe. Ramped and then cascade, like waterfall off this side. Wrote it around here, created the ammonite shape. Wow. Went back into creating ribs. Oh my god. Oh, it's creating ribs here. That's incredible. How defined it is. I really did not realize that was a rib here. Oh my god. It's a rib of the ammonite, but it's so like weirdly made. Oh my god. And there's also down there. Oh, and then there's boundaries up here happening. So it's forming a larger ammonite. Wow. And the way this is over here is kind of like this shape. I don't know. It's not very right there. It literally retains the current flow details to that degree. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow, it's like some of it went to like a equatorial belt kind of region and went that way. And then it wrote it in. Proof. Drop in a bucket. Yet another proof. That one's real strange looking. What is going on there? It's probably more normal. Oh, whoa. Oh, crap. Whoa. Oh, my. Oh my god. A little chakra maybe. Upper chakra too. Oh wow. Chakra's here, with the lobe out to the left side. Multiple lobes, really. It looks like it's unsure which lobe to form, which chakra to use, in essence. Again, it's like the final chamber in a larger ammonite, too, of the stone itself generally having an ammonite-like shape. Another ammonite-like feature there. That one and that one are incredible. Like, those are cool, but these two are too incredible. Too many details. There we can kind of just see like a chakra right at the edge. It's not internal, it's just right at the edge. That's how that one was like that. It was kind of forming like that, but it also already had a chakra inside the lobe over here. And this lobe was just not coalescing. Like this is generally an ammonite type shape. It's like the end of it here. Like a mass that's maybe more so like this side, like a half. And then this side is less defined, like a negative half. Although that angle looked like it had just as much. Okay. Next. Incredible ones for sure there. Oh, wow. I like these a lot because they tend to have anomalous paths that the current took that don't make any sense if we're just interpreting these to be fossils. In this case, it's kind of structurally sound where it's just like looks like it could be a fossil. Sometimes it takes very anomalous shapes. Here we see it just branching off to the up there for no apparent reason, unrelated. Over here we see some branching up too. And then again a eddy, like a center there where it's got like an eddy puncturing a hole into the stone there that then is creating an eddy in this plane. That's creating a lobe and another lobe outward, and then creating a larger boundary out here that's eroding like the other ones. That looks like chakras there, chakras there. I don't even know where the chakras are, but it looks like it could be either because it does that. One of them is more actually where the physical thing would be at the time. It's very rare to see them in both instances like defined. I've never seen them defined in both instances. It's usually like one is defined, the other is more recessive. Although I could envision them being basically equally dominant so that they're both like somewhat there enough to see them both. Where they essentially are just like low resolution, but good enough. Did I see all this? Oh, no. I just freaking was moving on like, oh no, I did watch it all. Yeah, I was just looking at that chakra again. Okay. 13 chakra. I guess he's pointing out the chakras. So there's one there. There's one there. There's one or two there. So there's a general ammonite. Ammonite. This ammonite here might have like a larger boundary. It was generally. related to. And then this over here, if he was pointing at chakras, looks related to over here too. Like it was two regions that were forming ammonites, but were basically like two lobes. Wow. I love the way this is eroded. So cool. Okay, very cool. Looks like it's coming off like a far tip of it rather than like off the top. It's like off the flat end tip top in a strange way. Like that's abnormal. And then it just goes up that way. Where this side goes down. This side looks like it went down and up. Wow, there's so many tabs I still opened. Holy crap. Very cool. Exceptionally cool. I would think that this current flowed in right around here. Like right there. Right around there. Let's see. Flowed in right around there. Like eddied into here, into the stone here. In this area. And went back over here, but largely like flowed out that way in essence. Where this side, it more so held the boundary. It didn't really flow so much this way because maybe its angle was a little sloped. Like it wasn't directly head on so as to like splash in both directions equally. Like if it's just flowing at a surface at a straight angle versus at this kind of angle, I feel like it's not like this, but it's more in that direction of a slope where then it essentially sprayed like that way. But then that ran into pressure and it then eddied like that in here though. And then like grew out into this lobe here, which managed maybe to get past some kind of whatever was like making it generally going sloped in the first place. Some pressure, I guess. I guess there was a pressure there that was outside of the system, or like generally from ultimately outside of the system in some like layering outward in the pressures that was flowing in that direction and just holding a pressure there for some reason. Leading to this slope, leading to that flow, leading to it then wrapping back around at some point to get past it to get to the other side. like flowing around this way as it eddies this way, and then cuts in like around the matrix, removes this matrix, and just eddies this way, and then runs into this area. Runs into over here. Seemingly like starts to erode portions of it that it can push in. Like I can envision this removing chunks at a time, like chambers, to reach some kind of pressure balance, where then that's what it ended up being like right there. It makes me think of envisioning like the tails of a galaxy having some kind of pressure points like that. Something. Where then at those pressure points, it's basically eroding into the stone. Wow, look at that right there. Freaking chakra. Chakra. Lobe. Lobe. But it's eroding into these places. Wow. And just shaping the dendritic features of the ammonite. Or in this case, it's just really those two paths. The prop stop there. Wow, it's so straight edge. Wow. Just covered in them. Oh my god. Wow, the shape of it is hexagonal. What the frick? Again, the slope of the ammonite is relatively Z-like here. One, two, three. I've never seen one that was like so hexagonal with 3 along the sides like that. That's so weird. It's got a little smiley face. Eyebrows. Vishnu saying what's up. What's up, Bish? What's up, bro? There's those 2 currents again, though. 2 currents. Dominant recessive? Maybe, but they seem to be comparable. Maybe it is dominant recessive, like inflow, outflow? Where like some of the inflow escapes and vents and removes material, etc. But some of it must return the way it came as the path of least resistance by just cutting a little path back adjacent to the path in. Which would make sense if it's like drilling into the stone, that it has to basically vent somehow, so it would form naturally a vent that would potentially, in the right conditions, like basically separate itself from the inlet, but be adjacent where there are like roads, two-way roads. Not completely sure if that's what's going on, but it's a possibility. And that's a chakra. There's a little point there that's not actually related to that. Oh yeah, it's the freaking remains of the drill center. So it's just eddying, flowing in. Maybe it's essentially like eddying in, let's say like this, creating that pillar thing, but then like exhausting that way and flowing in like that way with some kind of boundary that forms between them. Like in terms of 3 dimensions, this arrow is going into here and out of here. So like if the eddy is in this plane, in, out. Along like that nub thing. Makes me think. So it's like it's kind of like an eddy coming down like this. Running into resistance. Eroding into that resistance. And then having a like inlet point, say, like a side that the eddy generally enters in, like here, let's say, where then it ultimately is going down on this side. While this eddy is happening, like there's a inlet that's generally like at a point, I guess, like more linearly in the direction that it's traveling, but to a side that is like applying a pressure that way, leading to a flow that way, but within the eddy. And then again, a secondary, like this must be vented. So then it vents where it can, which is like opposite the inlet, which then leads to like a little rib thing that goes beyond the pillar, like on the walls, pillar at the center, and then along the wall of the erosional chamber is that thing. And then an interesting thing that we find is that if this is happening, if there's an eddy like that, then really the eddy would be like kind of more like this even. Like angled. So in other words, Z or backward Z, whatever. This type of pattern, that's just kind of glance. I noticed if I just go down here a little bit, here we just see some layering, just kind of gently sloping like that, but nothing out of the ordinary necessarily. Nothing that's like, that's gotta be what's going on, or an aspect of what's going on. Where is this one? I just saw it. It's like, oh yeah, that one. Just its shape. It maybe doesn't like suggest that that's also what's going on, but it certainly has the shape. This one. It's like sloped. Sloped. It's right here, actually. I guess it's hard to... Point is... Oh. Is that this? I'll move something, whatever. Point is, maybe it's related to like this. So imagine like there is a current doing this, but then it divides it, kind of like it creates chambers. Like in those structures, there'll be little tubes that will then have the layers. I'm drawing terribly. These things, though, which seem to swirl around. I haven't really had any to look at, like all the way around it, to see if it really swirls upward. But I suspect it does. But where, like, it could be a larger amount of material that's like let's see. That's like generally here. And then here's another Shaligram. Here's another Shaligram. With current generally cutting and dividing them. Another Shaligram. Another Shaligram. all of which are generally being eroded from a host material that is it's malleable in that the particles can move around and flow, but it's also relatively like solid in that it's like generally a good material for eroding into and doing this to. It's not just gonna disintegrate in the process, it's gonna result in shaligrams. I suspect because the particles are just being compressed in the process, basically. They're just being compressed together and then eroded by the high pressures that are present that then need somewhere to like explode out, but it does so in a implosion kind of way, I guess. Maybe it's related to implosion. And interesting things. But I suspect there's things of this nature going on, or it can also be in an eddy that then has chambers. That then those chambers get like eroded. And then there's like a flow that is like through the chamber, or I guess in this direction. Probably. That then leads to a resistance. Like, I don't want to go to the center of the eddy because there's things in the way. I mean, even if I wanted to, there's freaking more chambers in the way. What do you want from me? I can't go any further, so there's like a resistance. But then there's a flow from above of water, which is basically what shaligrams are, is they're formed in a resistance where then a flow will take them and shape them into elongated things that then become smushed out into ammonite type shapes by the eddies within the stone that happen as it actually eddies. So maybe like how they're happening is like in this down force that the shaligram experiences from the top of the stone that then applies a pressure into some resistance below the stone that I've generally interpreted as down, just the bottom. Anything I've called the bottom is highly likely to really be the internal, like where the pressure internal resistance is pushing back. So this current is just pushing into, but then there's internal resistance, so it can't go in any further. So it's held there, but it's not really gravity based, it's more eddy based resistance. Where then these stones that are like in a larger eddy then themselves just become shaligrams. But where like this is top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, in that it's the internal side or external side where then the current is flowing into the top, in, and then fanning out around around out to exhaust, but around so as to basically create a three-dimensional boundary that these shalograms are forming in, where like the larger structure is really not coalescing as an ammonite, but it's forming its like general things are happening, so the chambers are forming. It's just those chambers are instead stones that then have these currents that then literally become their own shalograms, and no one is the wiser that they were part of this larger assembly of shalograms that were all forming as themselves part of an eddy, where like if put back together somehow, theoretically, if the right shalograms were put back together and arranged, it would make sense that they grew like as one eddy. But actually finding them, unless they're like in the ground, found like dug up, found as one unit kind of thing, it would probably be hard. And then maybe in a smaller shalogram we could see like a microcosm of it, if you will. But to see like the actual shalograms arranged in a way where they reveal processes like that is probably, it might exist, the evidence. I mean, there's certainly evidence of all sorts of incredible things with these in the region, even having large-scale shalogram features. Crap, it's getting later and later and later, and I have more tabs than I would like open still, and these shalograms are incredible. I guess I can just leave these tabs open for later. Well, boundaries that are kind of nonsensical. Don't try to think too much. It will not make sense. Like this. Oh, there's nothing to see. Hey. It sure doesn't just go up there. It doesn't even really go that way that much. And then there's like an actual path from up there down, over, down, over, down, possibly over. Wow. Leading to this, wow. Like a current being threaded through it all to that thing. And fueling the eddy. It's basically forming in the currents, though. It's okay. Another one with lots of drill holes really visible in the way the current entered it. Literally drilling in like layer after layer too, until it drilled in further and further. Oh my god, like peeling off pieces of shalogram. Just peeling the layers off, getting into an internal shalogram. And then another internal one, another one, another one, another one, another one. So cool. Wow, it's square as fuck. Oh my god. Square. Boreholes with like a pseudo chakra kind of thing going on though. real chakras. Ribs in there. I could see like the rock becoming smaller pieces and like actually eroding this apart into its smaller pieces wherever it's got these little fracture lines, just eroding it further and further until they break into smaller pieces, and then those pieces being in the same currents so that they then experience their own forces based on their shapes, though, so that they then are shaped based on their shape and their like what is up and what is down kind of thing, whether how stable they are in their position under those forces. And then they take entirely new shapes as new shaligrams, but they're really just like seeded like from the host shaligram. And again, never the wiser, because we don't know. All we know is the present. Like this one assuredly is from something larger if it's got a freaking square shape to it. Like what? It's like it was in a container, like a loaf of bread baking in a container that couldn't like grow any larger than the container, so it just became square, rectangular. That one's cool. There's a chakra on this side, bunch of ammonite features eroded onto the other side. So this would have had another portion of the stone that had just literally eroded away. So it's out there. It's not like it's gone. It's just another shaligram. And then the ammonite itself, which is not on this one. So it must be out there somewhere. But it can do that here too. Like the more it erodes, it can just break it into smaller pieces still, and those can then be shaped in the currents. If they were, they can't anymore. The currents are not happening anymore, but they could have been shaped in the currents if they were broken from the currents while the currents were happening, that is. Lots of erosion around the ammonites. Interestingly, one of the lobes. Okay, the lobe is not very eroded. Like all the way up to its boundary, not eroded. Nearly like the rest of it. It makes me think that whatever was eroding this eroded so much that it actually got into the stone here. And when it got into the stone here, it created an eddy that then applied a counter force over here so that the erosion could not like get in. So it protected it, and instead like the two forces held the shale there and compiled it if it wasn't there. It was probably there, but like held it there. And it's certainly been eroded somewhat around the edge and little pores in it, but it's substantially still there. It's not like that, but it's almost backwards though to what usually happens, where the ammonite has most of the eroded like pyrite. Basically, the shale removes so that the pyrite and quartz are more visible. Whew. So some larger current beyond that Shaligram was eroding that region. Very cool chakras here, right? Wow. Wow, they're very screw-like. The torque of that eddy. And then the overall shape is rather lobe-shaped. Okay, last one. Last one. You said that 4 months ago. Oh, last one. I'm already doing other things. Freaking idiot. Freaking idiot. Freaking. So, you gonna watch it? Very strange. I'm wondering if there are like chamber patterns to it. I can't make it out if there is. Definitely see some like across things going on here. That maybe are parallel to at least a boundary goes through the stone. Surprisingly, I don't have much to say about it because it's so strange. It looks like chambers trying to be chambers, but they're just not even like wrapping around very much at all, so it's hard to say. I guess this could be a chakra with chambers like around it kind of thing happening. Or maybe, I don't know. Any of these points could be center points around which other things are happening. That's probably why they're all like that in the first place. Okay, dudes. Peace out. No, not back 5. Not back 5. That's not true. That's not true. No, I said peace out. I'm not it. I'm not it. Oh yeah, I'm still freaking here. What do you mean I'm still here? Ah, peace out.
Like a Hellcat.
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different, man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro, don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions, they blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen, that shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're driven.
Make it. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you could fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Are you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Are you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back.
You ain't gonna make it, you ain't never ever gonna break it. You can never beat them and they're better than you face it. Thinking that they give a damn, you're not, think a stray kid. No, they don't give a damn, you got what I'm saying? I'm not fucking playing, I'll give it to you straight, man. There's too many others and you're not that great, man. Stop what you're saying, stop what you're making. Everybody here knows that you just faking. Nah, I don't wanna hear it anymore, I don't wanna hear it anymore. All these fucking thoughts, they are not what I need anymore. I'm about to shut the motherfucking door on all you poor ass haters with your heads in the clouds. Talking out loud so proud, you better shut your goddamn mouth before I do more, speak out. It's about to head south.
Never gonna make it. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you could fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Are you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Are you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back.